Hi Year 6, I'm now going to continue running through the 2023 arithmetic paper, this time questions 19 to 27. So the first question here, 29.5, and that's we're going to take away, we're going to subtract 16.125. When you set this out, it's important to make sure all your, get a new pen, all your decimal points are in a straight line. So decimal point, decimal point, decimal point. I'm going to put a couple of zeros in here just to help. So 0 take away 5, we can't do it. 0 take away 2, we can't do it. So we're going to have to go to the 5. So let's take one of those tenths. So that is just 4 tenths, one over there. And now we're going to take one of those and put it over there. Now that should make the calculation much more straightforward. You can see essentially what we've done, we had 50 there, and that's now become 49 to take one over there. So now we've got 10 take away 5, that gives us 5. 9 take away 2 is 7. 4 take away 1 is 3. 9 take away 6 is 3. 2 take away 1 is 1. So we have 13.375. Okay, next question. Okay, 508 times 74. So I'm going to show you how to calculate this in two different ways. Okay, so first of all, we're doing 74 lots of 508. So we're going to start with the 4. So we're going to multiply the 4 by 508. So 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 0 is 0. Add the 3. I'm going to now cross that through because we finished with it. And 4 times 5 is 20. And now we're going to the next row. So we've done the 4, so let me cross out that 4. We finished with that, and now we're not doing 7 lots of 508, we're doing 70 lots of 508. So what we're going to do straight away is put, it's typical, let me switch that, and I've got another red pen over here, hopefully that'll work. Yeah, so I'm going to put that 0 there. So because we're doing 70 lots of 508, I'm going to put a 0 there. And now we can just think of it as 7 times 508. So 7 times 8 is 56. And I'm having a good day with the pens. Let's go back and revert to this one. So that's 56. And 7 times 0 is 0. Add that 5, put that there. And then 7 times 5 is 35. And then we add these numbers all together. 2 add 0 is 2, 3 add 6 is 9, 0 add 5 is 5, 2 add 5 is 7, and the 3 there, because we're not adding anything to that, so we get 37,592. I am going to show you another way of calculating this, because this is something that I've shown quite a lot of you at school, because a number of you were struggling with long multiplication, where you got a 2 or a 3 digit number there. So as we've got a 3 digit number multiplied by a 2 digit number, I'm going to draw an array which is 3 squares by 2 squares, and then the most difficult thing here with this array is drawing those in, but you're very good at drawing those. So 508 and 74. So if I write in 508 there and 74, and the beautiful thing about this method is it just takes out the worry of place value, because quite a few of you will forget that 0 there. So and by the way, yeah, this is called the Chinese method, or the lattice method. So 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 4 is 32. 0 times 7 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0, so you just put a 0 in, that's your 10s, that's your 1s, so you just put a 0 in both of them. 5 times 7, that's 35, 5 times 4, 20. And now we are just adding horizontally, diagonally, so we're just looking at that number there, so that 2 comes down, next one, 6 add 3 add 0 is 9, 5 add 0 add 0 add 0 is 5, 5 add 2 is 7, and you've got the 3 left by itself at the end, so you can see 37,592. Okay, so whichever method you use, you get the same answer. Thankfully, okay, next question. 21. 1/8 divided by 3. Okay, so for this question, it's there's I'd say two ways of doing it. If I just show you a question like 1/4 divided by 2. Now I know lots of you can do this. So if you've got a quarter of a cake and you're sharing it between 2 people. So if you've got a quarter of a cake, so you've got that quarter of a cake there, and if you share that between 2 people, you can see you just get that one piece there, that piece on top there. So you get that quarter. And if we just put the line in here just to help us work out how much that is 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 1/8. So the answer is 1/8. Now, what most people do here, on the White Rose videos, they show you this method. They basically do 2 times 4. So you've got 1 over 4 times 2, or 2 times 4, so 1/8. But that's what's happening. You've got a quarter of something and you're sharing it between 2. Now, so on this one, we're just going to multiply that denominator with that number there, that whole number there. So it's 1 over, the numerator remains the same, 8 times 3 is 24. Another way you can think about this, when you get to secondary school, they may well show you this way. 1/8 divided by 3, so that is the same, 3 is the same as 3 over 1, 3 divided by 1. A fraction is just a division calculation, so 3 divided by 1. Now, if we turn that into a multiplication, all we need to do is flip that. We're finding the reciprocal, what's called the reciprocal. So 1/8 times 1/3, and we know from the multiplying fractions earlier that all you have to do is 1 times 1 is 1, 8 times 3 is 24. So in some schools, children will be shown to, they'll put a 1 in there and then they will flip that. But you can choose whichever method you like there, you'll still get the same answer, which is 1/24. Okay, next question. Okay, question 22. 1/1 add 2/7 add 5/7. Now, this question caused a little bit of difficulty last year. So some of you wrote your answer as you've got 1/1 and 2/7 add 5/7, 1/1 and 7/7. But obviously you can see that 7/7 is a whole one as well. So you would have to write 2 to get the mark. You can't have a mixed fraction where you can't, if you've got if your fraction gives you a whole number, you have to write your answer as a whole number. So, first step here is perhaps to just change, if you want to, you can just change the 1 into 7/7, then you've got add 2/7, add 5/7, so altogether you've got 14/7. So you're just adding numerators there, that will give you 14, and the denominator remains the same, and 14 divided by 7 is 2, so you have to write your answer as a whole number. Okay, next question. and that is 70 add 48 divided by 6. Okay, so first thing you need to do here, this is bid maths. So, bid maths. So that's addition and subtraction, division and multiplication. We don't really need to worry about indices yet. You'll be using those in secondary school, and that's brackets. That stands for brackets. So there are no brackets there. So we have to do brackets always comes first, and then division or multiplication. There's an equal weighting. So neither of those is more important than the other, but division and multiplication always comes before addition and subtraction. So 48 divided by 6 first of all. So 48 divided by 6 is 8, and then we just have 70 add 8, so that's 78. Couldn't get those words out then. Okay, so next question. 3.2 times 12. So let's write it how they've written it. Now there's lots of different ways you can do this. It's quite tricky. It was a challenging question, and Year 6s last year found it quite challenging. Some children like to use the lattice method, which I showed you a few minutes ago, because they know that when you use that method, it's very good when you've got decimal points. So that's like, say, 3.2, that's 12.0. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, and then, so you've got 4 there, you've got 2 out of 6 is 8, and a 3 there. And what happens with your decimal point? It goes horizontally there, down vertically from that decimal point, and where they meet you then go down the diagonal, so that would give you 38.4. Okay, other ways of looking at this, because there's a multitude of ways you can tackle this question. I did note last year one student did, because this is a really tricky question, especially for number 24. So last year we had, they did 3.2 times 10, so that's 32, and then, so we've taken 10 lots of 3.2, we've got 2 more, so that was 2 times 3.2, so we just double that, and that gives us 6.4, and at the end they added those together. So that was another way we had last year. Another way you could, let's see, again, I need a very good understanding of maths to do this, but just to make that calculation much less tricky, just in one step, if I double the 3.2, I can halve the 12, so 6.4 times 6, that's quite hard to follow, but then that's a much easier calculation, because you've just got a short multiplication to do if you keep your decimal points in a straight line, and that will give you 38.4 as well. And you could go for the sort of the written procedure, but that gets a little bit more challenging when you've got a decimal point in there. But when at the end, when you get 384, you've got 1 digit after the decimal point there, so you have 1 digit after the decimal point there. And if you're thinking that 3 times 12 is 36, you know that your answer is going to be a little bit larger than 36. So 3.2 times 12 has to be just a little bit larger than 36, because 3 times 12 is 36. Okay, right, I think that's enough time spent on that question. But that was a really tricky one. But there are lots of ways you can tackle it. Okay, next question. How many 47s in 611? So I'm going to show you two different ways of calculating this. So first of all, we'll have, I'm going to do the sort of the formal method of long division, okay? But we do find that in year 6, each year when we do this, it's only a handful of children, sort of by the end of year 6, can remember how to do it. It's all very well completing a lesson, but it's can you remember how to do it at the end? So I will show you a method afterwards. So how many 47s in 6? So that's going to be 0. How many 47s in 61? So hold on, what I need to do, let's just write out the 47 times table first of all. Let's double that, that's 94, so that's 1 lot, 2 lots, and let's just go for 3 lots. That may be enough, so that will give us 151. When you're calculating that, you can always do a little calculation like that just to help you work that out. On the actual test paper, to be honest with you, if I was as an adult completing this test paper, I'd probably circle that one and leave it out, and then when I've completed the paper, I'd come back to it. It's a 2-mark question, but there are 4 2-mark questions on the test paper. It's out of 40 marks altogether. You only get 36 questions, so 4 of the questions have 2 marks. But these can take quite a long time. They can be very time consuming. So I suggest you skip them and then circle them and come back to them at the end when you've got time. If you've got time. So how many 47s in 61? Well, we're not going to have more than 1. So that's going to give us 1. And when we do the subtraction, that's going to give us a remainder of 14. And then we bring that 1 down there. That gives us 141. Oh, I've just realised I've made a mistake there. I should have done this correctly. So how many 47s are there in 141? That will give us 1, 2, 3. So we've got 3 there, and usually just to finish off the calculation, you can see, so you got 3 times 47 is 141, and so we've got nothing left, no remainders at the end. So the answer to that is 13. I actually prefer the other method. I'll squeeze it in down here. So how many 47s in 611? So how many 47s in 6? 0, remainder 6. How many 47s in 61? 1, remainder 14. How many 47s in 141? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that's what on the actual test paper, if you make one mistake using this method, you'll get 1 mark out of 2. Obviously, if you get the right answer, you get 2 marks. If you use this method and you get the right answer, you get 2 marks. But with this method, it's you have to use a formal method to get 1 mark. If you're using this method and you make 1 mistake, you won't get 1 mark. So that's the advantage of using this method if you can. But if you're just getting mixed up using this one, I would suggest you use that one. Okay. Next question. So 26. 5,746 divided by 5. So this was the first question in Arithmetic SATs history that gave us we had a remainder, and that did throw some of the children last year. So how many 5s in 5? 1. How many 5s in 7? 1, remainder 2. How many 5s in 24? That's 4, remainder 4. How many 5s in 46? That's 9, remainder 1. Okay, and you'd get 1 mark if you had that. I think it's a number of the Year 6 students last year, because I'd shown them how to do it in lessons, what they did is when you have that remainder 1, basically it's better to write, as you get to secondary school, you'll be expected to write this as a decimal, not show the remainder. So how many 5s in 46? That's 9, remainder 1. And how many 5s in 10? 2. So the answer is 1149.2. Okay, and the last question for now. So 52% of 700. Okay, now, so 100% that's 700. That's all the money you've got. That's 100% of what you've got, 700. So now, we haven't done this in class yet, but this is what you have to do. So 50%. So half of 100 is 50. So half of 700 is 350. And now we need to work out 2%. Well, I know that using that, 10% is, well, if I divide 100 by 10, I get 10. So I need to divide this by 10, and that will give me 70. So 10% is 70, and now I think, how do we get to 2? Okay, I think I'll find 1%. 1% is divide by 10 again, so you're dividing by 10 there. So you're dividing by 10 on that side, as long as you do the same thing to both sides. So 1% is 7, so 2% is 14, and then, so you want 52%, so you're going to add the 50% and the 2%, that will give you 52%, so 350, add 14, and that will give you 364. Okay. Next. Oh no, that's the last question for the moment. Okay, see you in a bit. Bye.